Welcome back to America's Forum. I'm J.D. Hayworth.
And I'm John Bachman. J.D., let's talk about the GOP in a little state called Massachusetts, or maybe I should call it a Commonwealth. All right, we're talking about Massachusetts right now, and the statistics are kind of discouraging. No Republicans hold statewide office, no seats in the congressional delegation, and Republicans are outnumbered 5-1 in the state legislature. But the party's statewide convention over the weekend, the Massachusetts GOP took aim at Democrats with an attack focused sharply on the economy and jobs.
Republicans know the way to strengthen families is to create better jobs and greater opportunity. The Democrats think the answer is more government mandates like raising the minimum wage. Is that all they've got? That's not enough to lift a family out of poverty. It's not a solution. It's just pandering.
I'm fed up with the Democrats in this state.
I have a son who's going to be 19, and I want a better future for him. That's a big point for me why I'm a Republican. I want a better future for him.
Our Commonwealth is off course, and Democrats in power are failing us. It's time for serious leadership on Beacon Hill. As Republicans in Massachusetts, we are offering an alternative to politics as usual, putting the people of Massachusetts first. We do this by electing principled and ethical people, by promoting a government that responsibly reins in spending, and pushing forward a new approach that puts freedom and opportunity before politics. A Republican Party that creates a better future for Massachusetts.
My name is Paul.
I'm Agatha. I'm Sandy.
Corrado.
Christine.
I'm Mark, and I'm a Massachusetts Republican.
Well, you can see a very specific ad targeting Republicans or maybe potential Republicans in Massachusetts. This is part of a video released, as you saw there, by the Massachusetts GOP at their statewide convention over the weekend. The Mass GOP is hoping to make inroads in the notoriously blue state by appealing to voters who feel outrage over the relatively high unemployment and sluggish economy that remain in that state. The delegates chose Charlie Baker, who ran unsuccessful for governor in 2010, as their candidate for governor this year. Baker, who is in favor of abortion rights and supports gay marriage, has distanced himself somewhat from the Republican Party platform. So, you know, J.D., there's obviously a specific kind of Republican in Massachusetts, different than you'd find in maybe my home state of Georgia, but is there room in the big national tent for those types of folks?
Well, of course, and I served when I first went to Congress with a couple of Republican members from Massachusetts, Peter Blute and Peter Torkelson, but it is important to note that when you talk about statewide office in Massachusetts, things are not always as deep blue as we assume them to be. Let's think back over the past couple of decades. A Republican governor by the name of Bill Weld, and subsequently a Republican governor by the name of Mitt Romney. But it is interesting, and when you take a look in the fullness of time at Mitt Romney's political resume and Mitt Romney's positions, let's not forget that when he ran for governor of Massachusetts, he embraced many of the same policies now being embraced by the once and current GOP nominee for governor there again. But the question becomes, are we going to see a Republican resurgence in Massachusetts, given the dissatisfaction with the state of the economy? Who would know better about that than our good friend, the Boston Herald columnist and talk show host, Howie Carr, who joins us now by telephone. So, Howie, you're a no-nonsense kind of guy. Is there a way to see a resurgence for the GOP there in Massachusetts?
J.D., I'll tell you, if there isn't a resurgence this year, I'm not sure there's ever going to be one again. You know, it was only 2002 when Mitt Romney was elected, so it hasn't been that long since a Republican has won, and they had won the previous 4 elections before that. So it's possible, but I don't know. I'd say yeah. I'd say Charlie has a definite chance. The Deval Patrick administration has been just so disastrous on so many levels, not the least of which is Obamacare. That I would think Charlie has a pretty good shot.
And how is there more disgust in Massachusetts from some of these independent voters who maybe are considering changing parties, voting for a Republican this time around? Are they more upset with Deval Patrick or with President Obama?
I think that it's odd for some reason. According to the latest polls that came out about a month ago, Deval actually had a better favorability rating than Barack Obama did, and I think a lot of that has to do with just the fact that Deval Patrick sort of stays under the radar screen. It's easy to stay under the radar screen when you're on junkets about two weeks see him around very much, and they tend not to blame him directly. But I mean, the magnitude of the problems has gotten so much worse. Welfare fraud, this children's services scandal here, the Justina Pelletier scandal, which has kind of become a national thing with some radio talk show hosts. There's, poison steroids being sent out without any state supervision. Over 60 people dead nationwide. A crime lab chemist who was making up, falsifying drug lab reports. Over 1,000 drug dealers have been released so far. It's going to cost the state hundreds of millions. I mean, it's just the list is. I could go on and on and on. And I think people are finally starting to say, "Hey, this is just too much." And then the taxes are going up. So that's the other thing.
Yeah, taxes definitely something that everybody feels once they start to hit home.
Yeah, and Howie, not only do you offer your opinions in the Boston Herald, but people speak with you daily on your talk show. If
Right.
you had to really measure what's going on here, now we tend to concentrate on statewide office and the gubernatorial election, but are there any prospects in terms of the congressional delegation, one of those House seats in these midterms, anything, does it look like the Democrat wall of solidarity may break there for one of those seats going down to Washington?
JD. There's one. I don't know if you ever served with this guy, John Tierney. I guess you did serve with John Tierney, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's on the North, and I don't know if you've been following his scandal-ridden last few years. His wife has two brothers who are basically gangsters, and they run an offshore betting operation, and they used her to launder money, $8 million that went through her account and the congressman's account. She got a helicopter for them to use.
Whoa.
And apparently he claims he didn't know that there was $8 million in their account. I don't know about you, JD, but I think my spouse would know if I put $8 million in the bank. And I think she'd know if I bought a helicopter too.
Yeah, I think they know about that.
If nothing else, they might hear it. Howie. We have much more to come with Howie Carr coming up later in the show.
That's right. Look forward to talking more to Howie. Massachusetts politics, not always solidly Democrat, though that's the perception there.
Yeah, interesting to get his take because he really knows the ins and outs of it. Much more to come here on the program, including more from Howie Carr coming up later. You can always reach out to us on social media at Newsmax TV. #America's Forum.